As a pre-service teacher currently studying my Bachelor of Education Primary, I recently read the book Growing Up Disabled in Australia. This book highlights many people's experiences of living with disabilities. The first story I read was Forever Fixing by Elle Gibbs, who at 19 years old endured years of treatment for psoriasis, an autoimmune disorder causing thick, itchy and painful skin. Due to the pain, lack of knowledge and absence of support, Elle Gibbs turned to drugs before eventually finding the help needed and accepting her disability. This text highlights how individuals can become empowered through the social model of disability, which Graham 2023 describes as the process of adapting the environment to suit the needs of all people, rather than being limited by the medical model, which focuses instead on changing the person to suit the environment. It also explores social capital, which Friedman explains as the concept that recognizes people's relationships and social networks as an important aspect of a person's health and quality of life. Additionally, cultural capital influences inequalities by shaping individuals' access to knowledge, resources, and opportunities. This is evident when the author reflects on their lack of cultural capital, stating, "There was no handy booklet about how to be disabled to guide me through my emergence into a disabled life. I didn't know any other disabled people or ways of being disabled." Social capital was also limited as doctors dismissed the author's request for transparency and failed to provide support networks to navigate life with a disability. However, this was overturned when the author found disability communities to connect with. Through these communities, she gained knowledge, support, and a sense of belonging, showing how social and cultural capital can be transformative in managing and living with a disability. This text resonated with me as I also live with psoriasis. I've seen many doctors who advise me to stress less or use various creams and shampoos to fix my condition. I've struggled with work absences, job security, and even simple tasks like swimming in chlorinated pools with my kids. As someone living with this disability and reflecting on the author's experience, I've gained valuable insights for my future practice as an inclusive teacher. It has helped me better understand the importance of adapting the environment to meet the individual needs of students, such as ensuring access to resources are readily available, rather than expecting my students to adapt to the environment. The second text, Curve, by Jessica Walton, describes a cancer survivor who, after chemotherapy, gains weight and experiences societal judgment and deficit language. Deficit language refers to the way individuals or groups are described in terms of what they lack rather than their strengths or abilities. At first, the author illustrates the internalization of deficit language, believing she has recovered from chemotherapy wrong, and as a result, feels shame for her new body and therefore is embarrassed to continue her passion of running. Phrases like, "They say I'm too fat to run," and "You're not supposed to get fat after cancer," reflect her struggle with society's perception that disability and weight make her less capable. Walton further describes how she absorbs these messages, calling her body bad and feeling silenced by the shame. The reinforcement of loss, rather than adaptation, is portrayed through her description of the absence of running as an ache. However, over time, she proudly rejects these narratives and reclaims her identity. This transformation is evident when she rediscovers movement and joy, running with flesh and metal legs, shifting from deficit thinking to a positive growth mindset. Currently, the ABS reports a steady increase in children aged 5 to 17 years who are either over or underweight. As a pre-service teacher, I will likely teach students within these categories. Although the Disability Standards of Education 2005 state that education providers are required to provide reasonable adjustments, a study by Paig and Dudley Marling found that labelling teaching practices as inclusion and differentiated instruction creates predetermined boundaries defining who is considered normal or capable. This links to deficit language as it frames students by their perceived limitations rather than their strengths, reinforcing exclusion rather than genuine inclusion. Haig and Dudley Marling further imply that by recognizing the relationship between language, power, and identity in education, I can develop a more inclusive and less stigmatized teaching style. Reading Elle Gibbs and Jessica Walton's stories in Growing Up Disabled in Australia has broadened my understanding of disability perceptions and the importance of inclusivity. Moving forward into my teaching profession, I am now inspired to ensure I seek current and regular ongoing training to create a classroom where all my future students feel valued and capable.